Alright, everybody. Let's get back to this. This is the third episode of the Satisfactory Plus playthrough. So this is still, at this point in time, I was thinking that this would be my main base. I know it's a mess, but you need it, you have to temporarily set things up so that you can produce your plates, your screws, your simple things, just to get them down. In Satisfactory Plus, there's so many more things that you have to build, and I'll show you an example of that here in a little bit. But right here, I needed screws, so I'm going to build some screws. Here you go. See, there's a sample of everything that gets built just in the constructor. And this is right away in the game. You have a dozen things that you need to build in order to continue. And that's not even the assembler, it's just a constructor. Anyways, let's see where this edit goes. There you go. Tin rod, yeah. And the other thing is, in the game, some of the stuff you can't build at the workbench like you used to. You have to build it through like a constructor or a manufacturer or something like that. It was really surprising at times to get used to it. Anyways, here we go. Let's go fast forward, just get stuff going. Yeah. Just running around, trying to build, at the time, what I thought was going to be my main base. Honestly, even by this point, I didn't really like how it was turning out. It was jumbled, it was too tight. It wasn't organized in any way to be efficient. So I was just committing to using it to make resources so that I could make a better, what do you call that? A better base of operations. So we're going, all of this is just trying to make these bronze ingots and stuff like that, and then I was short on power, so then I had to make another power station. Man, I really decided to run this like crazy, didn't I? There's the man. I couldn't use it, so I didn't bother showing it. I didn't have anything. So right here, we're going to go for a hog hunt. Here you go. Yeah. Electrocute that hoggy. Yeah, now raid the corpse. Because that's what you do with piggies. Or in video games. Anyway, so here we go. We're back. I needed material just so that I could build the base. So I was just jamming in stuff in a haphazard manner. Now I'm going to build a chainsaw because I need more material. Where's the screws? Chainsaw, get some screws. There we go. Build us a chainsaw. A really important tool in the early game, the chainsaw. Alright, running around in circles. Let's get some fuel. Steal it. Yeah. Here, grab some more. And now let's go clear cut some forests. Come on, let's go cut some forest. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, let's go. At this point in time, I was just clearing out around the hub. Get rid of the trees in the area. This is how I always start, is I just start with raiding what's closest and then working my way out. I went over here to clear this ledge because I had already decided that this is where the initial main power distribution system was going to be, power generation system was going to be. So I needed to clear it out. Well, I didn't need to, it just looks better when you clear it out. So I was trying to clear out all the brush and cut the trees down and stuff like that, and then I was going to throw all that inside the constructor I have there to turn it into biomass, and the biomass to turn it into solid biomass. There we go. Get it going. Running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Making sure I don't run out of power again. Alright. Oh, look at that. Alright. Here we go. Making concrete? I don't know what I was doing there. What about this? What's that? Somebody needs to tell the editor not to run it so fast. I think that's going to be the main bullet point to this episode for feedback. It's a little much. So here we go. Up here, I've decided to build the main base up on top of this ledge. I still hadn't found out that I have the capability to build container yet, but I was tired of waiting. It was time to start organizing things, so I was just starting to run foundations so that I have a place to actually organize my constructors, eventually my assemblers, and eventually my manufacturers, and eventually the blenders and stuff like that. I was trying to get to the top of that hill. I don't know why I was so determined to get up there, but I couldn't. I mean, I just didn't have the capability to get up there. I needed a jetpack or something. Or I could have just made ladders and climbed up there, but, you know, whatever. Look at him go! This is going to be central filing. This is where all finished resources are going to be, at least temporarily. You know, that's where they're going to go. That's where, like, the plates and the screws and the rods and the copper sheet and the wire and the cabling, it's all going to be centered in that area. So here we go. There's me discovering that I could build containers. I'm embarrassed to say that took the better part of 4 hours to figure that out. That was not a bright spot on my part. But anyways. Yeah, can't build a space elevator now, so I just undid that. Unchecked it. Now see, when I build my containers in my central area, or any area, I like to put a space between them, and we'll show you here. And basically I use the container to create that space in between containers, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So there's that. I put a container there. Move over. What am I doing? I think I'm trying to figure out what to do next. Oh, I was thinking of double stacking the containers, which is good and bad, but for I've tried it before, make a game with double stack containers as their primary storage, and I didn't really like the way it turned out. It was a little bit of a pain in the butt. So there we go. See, look. Now, well, I haven't eliminated the one in the middle yet, but that middle one will be erased, the material absorbed. There you go, putting a merger in incorrectly. Way to go. Way to show off. Good job. So like I said, I was thinking there it's going to be plates, rods, screws, and then the other material that I build as it happens. I think at this point I finally had enough of a platform built where I ran up and I put my first machine into the main, what was going to become the main plant. It's still running slow because I have my regular shoes. I don't have the Blade Runners or whatever they're called. And I'm out of concrete. Of course I'm out of concrete. Okay. More containers. I think right here what I'm doing is I'm putting a container down for my concrete constructor that I built on the ground. Because like I said, sometimes you just need temporary stuff, especially early in the game. So you just temporarily build the constructors until you get your main base up and running, and then you get rid of that stuff so that you can try to organize it. It's really important for me, the way I play, as I don't rebuild my base every technology node. What I do is I continue to have a mega base, and I just expand that mega base. And I do have satellite factories where I do stuff like make plastic and stuff like that. It's away from it. More tree cutting. Look at that. And I had a problem here with this foundation not wanting to snap on the lower lip, or on the upper lip rather. It kept wanting to be up high instead of down low. And this actually turned out to be a problem I've had a lot with this mod. I don't know if it's just the mod. I don't remember having that problem when I played the vanilla game. So here we go again with another container. This is going to be a container that's for processed ores. So this will be things like ingots, stuff like that. Those are going to be processed materials, but they're not finished materials. And it gives me a subspace to store them on the way to the factory before from the factory they go to what is essentially the delivery site, which is central filing. And again, using the connexes as spacers between the connexes, and it works out really well. You could put two conveyor belts on the mergers or the splitters next to each other, and they don't run into each other, so you don't have that bleeding into each other look. And there's expanding. This is going to be where the area where like smelting is done. Basically, all the smelting work will be done in the, I call it the back of the factory, but you know, as the game progresses, it really becomes one of the primary areas. Is this background work really takes over in the game, and it really becomes intensive. But this is where I'm going to put smelters, foundries, in this game blast furnaces, in this version of the game, stuff like that. Can't even jump. Nope, I fell. I always fall. I'm still trying to figure out how I actually want to build this out at this point in the game, because it's just really important, like I said earlier, to get your initial base set up correct, or else it's just going to become a series of spaghetti mess on your conveyor belts. And to be honest with you, I kind of didn't set things up right, so my base really turns into a spaghetti mess, which I'm fine with in the end, because it gets stuff, I can still get stuff done with it. It's just not as pretty as I would necessarily like. And this is where things start. I should have known that I needed to reposition the base, because I'm having to make secondary platforms and worry about running into my my hab Or not my hab, my hub. And there I go, I fall, but I needed to, because I couldn't get the foundations to snap where I wanted them to. Make sure everything's running, looks like everything's going. Back to the crafting bench. So I'm really trying to think hard about, because like I said, I generally just have a single base, a big mega base. And once that mega base starts being built out, I just tend to build it out, continue to try to build it out. So once I commit myself to this, I really commit myself to it. And I do in the end. This is what I go with, is this basic design. There we go, placing up the smelters, getting the splitter lined up. There we go, running around the ground. What's important about this piece? Why am I slow, running at normal speed? I'm going to have to add my merger here. Now I offset this merger on purpose instead of putting it in the middle, because that was so that I had expandability to create a third smelter and feed those ingots into the same merger. Now to run this all the way over to where those connexes, the storage containers, which I deleted for some reason. So let's put them back. There we go. So I like using the straight conveyors a lot. It really helps kind of clean things up. It doesn't always work, but they help out. For me, it helps make the things look cleaner and easier to follow when I gotta fix a problem later on. There you go. There's another merger, so I can add more than one line into this in the future. Here I'm out of plates, and I don't want to run all the way down there to go get the plates, so I just eat up some of the floor. There we go. Look at that. There's the lazy way. That probably took me just as long as if I would have ran down there. Go. Dun 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 dun, just sitting there and staring at what's my little base. There we go. The bronze thing was just kind of being a pain in the butt. Things just weren't built properly. So here I'm starting to isolate the temporary factory so we can start moving stuff over into what's going to become the primary factory. So, make plates, because that's the first thing everybody needs is a whole bunch of plates. Whether it's Satisfactory Plus or regular Satisfactory. So I'm going to do 2 plate constructors, because that's all I can feed right now, or if I remember right, off from level 1 um, conveyor belt. I'm going to try to start cleaning stuff up, lay down some plates, or foundations rather, so that when I build the crusher, it's actually on the system, actually on a grid system. Okay, there you go. What's she gonna do? Back to the crafting bench. Go, first resource delivery. I deleted it because it was going the wrong direction. There we go. So there's the, what was that? This stuff, the citrolite. Basically the stuff that's iron. Come on, there we go. Why did I delete it? What am I doing? Oh, I put them in wrong, that's why. Power it up. There we go, falling again. Let's go see how this stuff's doing. There we go. Choose iron ingots. Got stuff running. It's gonna take a little while, but it'll get over there. And I need to put some power on over here is what I need to do. So I felt I'd made this too big, the upper platform, so I made it smaller. There is something I didn't do that I normally do, which is I place a storage container or a industrial storage container directly behind the initial, behind the constructor or assembler or whatever it is. But for some reason I forgot to do that for a while in this game, so I have less material in reserve than I normally do. And it turned out to be okay so far, but you know, it's definitely, I like having a large number. Oh, looks like we're done.